Hello, my name is James Katz, and I'm going to be telling you about a study that I did with Kate Mays and Skylar Lay on facial recognition technology in terms of public opinion in the United States. Facial recognition technology is quite important because of its implications for our society. Some of the darkest fears about this technology are that it can be used to constantly monitor and control populations. That fear is not theoretical. Nowadays in China, cameras are everywhere in public places, and people are in many regions identified, monitored, and the data is used to control them and find out many things, not only directly about their behaviors, but also about their relationships and activities. So to get an understanding of how this technology is perceived in the United States in 2019, we did a national representative survey. We asked about 5 areas of facial recognition privacy and asked people how comfortable or uncomfortable they might be with very instantiations. One of the questions we asked, which was the least comfort making, was asking about 24/7 monitoring of roadways to identify terrorists. 57% found this to be making them uncomfortable, while about 1 out of 5, or 21%, found this a comfortable application. In terms of anonymously recording via facial recognition the age and gender of somebody buying something in a store, about 50% found this uncomfortable and 27% found it comfortable. Anonymously using facial recognition to learn about income or gender orientation when making a purchase in a store was judged to be uncomfortable by 39% of the sample, and 32%, or about 1/3, found it to be something in their comfort range. Using facial recognition technology to track and record and monitor movements in subsidized housing was something that 36% of the population sampled deemed it uncomfortable and 37% comfortable. There were virtually identical results, also asking about using facial recognition by the police to scan crowds to look for criminals. So to get a good analysis of the findings, we used some demographic independent variables to try to predict comfort levels. And the 5 that we looked at were gender, age, income, education, and race. What we found was that only gender and race/ethnicity were statistical predictors of the attitudes. And even then, they were only weak predictors. Nonetheless, they did predict attitudes, and once those 2 variables were accounted for, the other 3, age, income, and education, added no statistically significant power to explaining the outcome. So what were those findings? Well, in terms of race, ethnicity, those who are non-white were less comfortable with the applications we asked about, and also those who were female were also less comfortable with the applications. And as you may have noticed earlier, overall there's more negative or uncomfortable feelings associated with the various applications we described than comfort level, although significantly for all 5 of the potential applications there was a substantial reservoir of comfortable or positive feelings towards those applications. So the conclusions that we can draw is that there is a lot of concern about these technologies, that many of the benefits don't seem particularly persuasive to the respondents. There are concerns about these technologies which are more prominent in those groups which have been less powerful traditionally. This leaves us with a conundrum. How can we get the benefits of facial recognition and also create protections and safeguards for those who might be abused by it without those safeguards? In other words, create a policy that satisfies the opposing views. We also, and ultimately, most importantly, must make sure that we prevent the kind of nightmare scenarios that we seem to be on the verge of in some authoritarian states. So, in essence, we must give a hard look at artificial intelligence enabled facial recognition technology. Thank you very much. Kosonom.